Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and yesterday we took a look at all of the epics that you should disenchant from Rise of Shadows, Saviors of Uldum, Descent of Dragons, Galakrond's Awakening, and the classic set. And, well, we're going to take a look at all of the legendaries that are basically safe to disenchant. Unless you're a hardcore memer, you don't care about wild at all and just want to get rid of it all, or you're a completionist and want to keep everything, you probably are pretty safe to disenchant most of these and get yourself as ready as possible for the next expansion of cards. So let's dive right in. Let's take a look at the legendaries you absolutely do not need if you want to continue playing wild. So first, starting with the Rise of Shadows, we have Lucent Bark, the 8 mana 4/8 taunt for Druid, restore 5 health, it comes back to life. And yeah, this card didn't really work out in standard, and I don't think I've ever seen it played in wild. Very slow strategy, loses to so many different things. I would never bother with it. Definitely give it a dust. Oblivitron, it's a 6 mana 3/4 mech that, you know, you cheat out another mech and activate its death rattle. Even with Tonk being a card and other really good death rattle synergies you could do with it, like play dead, not worth it at all. I just cannot recommend this in good faith. Varisa Windrunner, the other hunter legendary from Rise of Shadows. You get a weapon that gives you spell damage. I'm sorry, spell damage hunter's never been a thing, and this card's not going to make it happen. We have Kagdar, the 2 mana 2/2 mage legendary. You get to, you know, it's good with Conjurer's Call and get extra copies of minions. Even with Conjurers likely being reverted, probably to 3, I still don't think this is going to be popping back up in wild anytime soon, and I wouldn't hold on to it. Commander Risa, the Paladin legendary that, you know, triggers secret effects twice. Even with Secret Paladin being a decent deck in wild, this card has basically never made the cut in that deck. The effect is just not worth it. She's very fragile, very easy to kill off. Just, I can't recommend it. Azari, the Paladin Dragon, basically Reno Jackson for both heroes. Heal to full. It's 10 mana. It's completely too slow. This hasn't really seen play in either format. You can definitely get rid of it. And then we have Tak, Noswhisker, the rogue meme legendary where you like shuffle cards into your deck and you get copies in your hand. It's not good. It's bad. It's a 7 mana 6/6 in wild. You think you're getting away with that for some value? It's just not a thing. And you can safely disenchant that one as well. Swamp Queen Hagatha, 7 mana 5/5 shaman legendary that, you know, you get to make a 5/5 that has 2 shaman spells. Even in like a Shudderwalk shaman deck, it just doesn't work out. It's too slow, and it kind of screws with your Shudderwalk stuff. Like, you fill your hand with these useless 5/5s a lot of the time. I don't recommend it. It just doesn't really fit into any valid archetype right now. We have Arch Villain Rafam, the 7 mana 7/8 legendary that you play it, and it's got taunt, and you get all sorts of random legendaries. It's never been good standard, and oh my goodness, it's not good in wild. There are so many bad legendaries, hence this video where we're going over how many. I can't recommend it unless you just want to lose games but have fun playing random legendaries. Next we have the Boom Reaver, 10 mana 7/9 mech for warrior. You summon a copy of a minion from your deck. I guess you could try it in Big Warrior, but overall, not really good enough. It was an okay discover option back in the day off Dr. Boom, but you don't want to ever put this in your deck. And lastly, we have Chef Nomi, the 7 mana 6/6, and you get a bunch of other greasers that fill your board if you have no cards left in your deck, and you could do this a bunch with like Priest with Seance. It saw a little bit of play in standard during its first inception, but the game has evolved so much that drawing your whole deck and just spamming the board of 6/6s doesn't really make the cut anymore. So Chef Nomi, I'm afraid your time is done in the kitchen. You're done. Just disenchant it. It's a pretty cool card, but doesn't really work anymore. Next, some Saviors of Uldum. I hate to do this to Dexter, but I recommend disenchanting Unseal the Vault, the Hunter quest where you have to summon 20 minions, and then you get the hero power giving minions to attack, and it saw a little bit of play in standard. There was some success. There's a couple rank 1 legend lists, but it's been a long time, and while it's never worked out, it's such a slow strategy, and even Hunter has better stuff to do, and Hunter really sucks in wild, so I can't recommend holding on to it. It's a really cool card, but if you want to play competitively, I cannot see a realistic reason to hold on to it. Next, we have the Mage quest, Raid the Sky Temple. There's a much better quest for Mage that lets you play an extra turn. This one gives you some random spells, and you got cards like Mana Cyclone that do that a heck of a lot better. You get some mana cheat on it, but overall, didn't really work in standard, and it certainly does not work in wild. Another quest is the Paladin quest of making mummies, where I think you play 5 reborn minions, and you get a hero power where you get to make a 2/2 copy of a minion. Again, very slow strategy, didn't really work in standard outside of a very niche pocket against Control Warrior. and has only been running wild basically to give you a coin for certain Exodia Paladin combinations, so I wouldn't really recommend holding it for that reason. Next, we have the Priest Legendary, High Priest Amat, 4 mana 2/7. Every time you play a minion, you basically get to copy the health, and this guy was really good in Inner Fire Priest and Standard for a little bit, but that deck's not really viable in Wild, and even the ones that do try it don't run this card. It's too slow there. It's to be very aggressive, play cards like Deathlord, or you want to max out at like 3 mana, and High Priest of Met doesn't really fit into any archetype in Wild at the moment, and I don't see that really being a strategy anytime soon. A Bizarre Burglary, yet another quest, the rogue quest, where you add 4 cards from other classes into your hand, and you get the immune War Axe for the rest of the game. Burgle Rogue's okay-ish in Wild, but you really want to do the Spectral Cutlass strategy where you're buffing that and healing a bunch, and this isn't really ever going to be a competitive strategy. You can hold on to it if you really like the meme of it, because it is a pretty cool card, but in terms of actually winning games, I don't think you're going to have much luck if you hold on to this one. Anka, the Buried Storage Geminator, I cannot recommend holding on to this one. It's a friend of mine who loves this card, but outside of like this niche Mechathune combo, which even is not very good, but it does use Anka, this card has seen basically no play in Wild, and even with all the insane Death Rattle minions there are, it's just not worth your time. We have Dark Pharaoh Takan, the Warlock Legendary that makes your lackeys 4/4s. Lackeys haven't really worked out for Warlock for a long time in there in Wild, and well, you're not really going to run this card even if you're playing those, because it's a one of high roll that it's not going to even win you the game. Not with the Wild strategies. 4/4 lackeys just really don't do much of anything. We have another quest, Hack the System, the warrior one, where you have to attack with your hero a bunch of times, and then you get 4/3s every time you attack. It's just, I mean, Kibler tried it. It was cute for a minute, but yeah, this card, not good at all in either format. You can definitely get rid of it. We have Armageddillo, the 6 mana 4/7 beast taunt for warrior that hand buffs all the taunts you have in your hand. The old quest warrior, the one that gave you Ragnar's Hero Power taunts, is not too bad, but even there, Armageddillo is very slow in that deck, and I just can't honestly recommend it. And that deck is super fringe, barely like tier 3 at best, so can't honestly recommend holding on to it. And lastly, we have Octosari, the 8 mana 8/8 beast that dies, you draw 8 cards. Flavorful, but absolutely horrendously slow and bad, and you can't play this in a Wild deck. Next, from the Descent of Dragons, we have Goru, the Might Tree, the 7 mana 5/10 taunt minion for Druid that gives all your treants for the rest of the game +1/+1. Treant Druid's okay in Wild, and there's like token Druid strategies, but Goru, way too slow for that. You got to be really aggressive, and Goru just does not make the cut. It's turn 7, you need to have won the game, not get your high roll. It's just way too slow. Dragon Rider Tulritha is it's a legendary, I think, for Paladin that gives a dragon this death rattle. Yeah, you can get rid of it. This card sucks. Nozdormu the Timeless. This card was very meta. Very good for a little bit in Standard. 4 mana 8/8. Each player gets 10 mana crystals. You played Ramp Paladin. Well, that strategy doesn't work worth a damn at all in Wild. You don't want to do that. You don't want to give your opponent 10 mana there. It's a lot more punishing than in the current Standard game. Like, you know, do that against the Priest and just see how that works out. You just do not want to do it, so you can get rid of it. We have Mind Flayer Karj, I don't know. 3 mana 3/3. You get to copy a minion death rattle, you summon it. It's not too terrible, but again, that type of strategy for Priest just isn't a thing in Wild. You have like Big Priest, Raza Priest. You're not playing Mind Flayer. Same goes with Murzon the Infinite, 8 mana 8/8 dragon that basically copy all the cards your opponent played the last turn. And outside of like a Togwaggle Priest list in Wild, where you basically would copy the ransom that they would play to make, you know, flip the deck back, it's really niche. It's really niche. It just doesn't work out. It's an insane card, but in Wild, you got to be better than an insane card when you're in a class like Priest these days to see any play. We have Waxadread, the rogue dragon that you consistently can shuffle back in your deck, and it's not good in Standard, not good in Wild. We have Bandersmash, the 5 mana 5/5 legendary for Shaman. You know, you get to turn into a random legendary unless you hit Hyreek or something insane. It ain't gonna work out very well, and it's definitely not worth running in Wild at all. We have Nidhogg, 6 mana 5/5 dragon. For Shaman, you get like 2/0/3 eggs. They hatch, they turn into 4/4s with Rush. Never saw play Standard, never saw play in Wild. Don't bother holding on to it. Zoraku the Warped, the Warlock legendary. It's a big boy. It's like 8 mana 4/12, and whenever you take damage, you get a 6/6, but incredibly slow, have to take damage, hasn't really seen play in any deck in Wild, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. A Frizz Kindle Roost, the 4-mana 5/4 neutral legendary that makes all the dragons in your deck cost two less. The dragon decks aren't really a thing in Wild, and this card, even there, it's just not reliable, and hell, you don't really see it in standard, do you? So again, one of those cards that looks decent on paper, but really hasn't paid off. I wouldn't recommend holding on to it. And then again, I have to apologize to Dexter because Shuma, I mean, you got a Nixia you're getting for free, which is pretty good. And this card's pretty bad and doesn't really see any play. So Shuma, sorry, you can live in immortality on Dexter's body, but not in most people's collections. Galakrond's Awakening, the only legendary I'd recommend is Grand Lackey Eric. It's a 4-mana 2/3. Every time you play a Lackey, add a Lackey to your hand. Really slow, really badly statted. Lackey's just, the value in Wild rarely matters, and certainly not this type of value. And then lastly, from the classic set, I would recommend Edwin Van Cleef, even though he's likely, right now he's 4 mana, and he's likely, well, we know he's going back to 3 mana. He hasn't popped up in a Wild deck like I can't recall ever. It's just not really worth it. And yeah, it's crazy how broken Edwin's been in Standard forever, but Wild doesn't really make the cut, and you can actually disenchant him. I don't think that's an issue. We have Laura Walker Cho. Unless your name is Wow Hobbs, you probably don't need to hold on to this because, I mean, you're not really going to win, but then you can hang out with Wow Hobbs at like Diamond 5 and have a good time. Don't get me wrong, but you're probably not going to win a lot of games. We have Millhouse Manastorm. I mean, just wait till you have 10 mana to try and play him, I guess, but no, it's just, you can't play a card that lets your opponent play spells for free. Shadow Essence for free, Spellstones for, no, we can't go down that road. Nat Pagel, 2 mana, maybe draw a card if it lives. No, just get rid of it. It's fine. Just the nostalgia does not need to keep it in your collection. We have Hogger, the 6 mana 4/4 that summons 2/2 gnolls with taunt. Absolute garbage. Get rid of it. The Beast, it was so bad it got removed from Battlegrounds. So if it's in your collection, what are you doing? By the way, I have a golden one and I'm keeping it. I'm a hypocrite. Next, we have the Black Knight, 6 mana 4/5, destroy minion with taunt. Good tech card way back in the day, way too slow in 2021. You don't need to hold on to it. We have Xavius, also known as Illidan back in the day. You know, this card's garbage. It's just bad. It dies to everything, and you get 2/1s out of the deal. Really not worth it. We have Gruul. I'm so sad to recommend disenchanting Gruul. It's infamous in its memery, but I'm sorry, Gruul. You're just really not good enough. You just gotta go. We have Nozdormu. Well, we got a better Nozdormu because you get to have fun with friends, and this 9 mana 8/8 version of getting 15-second turns is just awful. Unless you're queuing into like No Hands Gamer and you know you can slam Noz and screw with them. Wait, he doesn't play Wild, so yeah, definitely get rid of it. You don't need it. We have Onyxia, the old Onyxia. We're getting a newer one that's just better for free, so I don't see the reason on holding on to a bad Onyxia that basically saw no play. We have Ysera. Again, there's a better one that's free, and old Ysera hasn't seen play in Wild in ages and ages and ages. It just isn't relevant enough. Hell, it doesn't see play in Standard. And lastly, we'll leave off with the iconic Deathwing. We have a new one that's better, and this one hasn't been played forever. Unless you're cheating it out with like some high roll dragon strategy, don't waste your time. Old Deathwing, although amazing in Golden, amazing in animation, just isn't worth your dust anymore. So there you have it. Those are the legendaries that I recommend that you could disenchant if you're looking to build up your dust collection for the release of the next Standard year. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.